Hello again. I have this friend named Danny. I like to call him High Stakes Danny. Danny's a Keno player. When I think of Keno, it was my wedding day, and on the little carousel where they put the salt and pepper at the Tropicana Hotel, there's crowns and a slip of paper where you could pick your numbers, and this girl walks around saying Keno, Keno, and you can give your slip to her. She will run it to the Keno desk and bring you back your slip, and you can look up on these boards that are posted around the room and see if you won or not. Danny played the game, I believe, for the good part of 20 years. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize, but it's not really the point of the video. I posted something on a board one day about gambling. It was an anonymous board, and Danny responded. We were just emailing back and forth, I don't remember what I wrote. It'd be fun to read that again. I'm gonna guess that was probably about 8 years ago. We started talking. At that point, Danny had only managed to quit gambling 18 days. And if I'm not mistaken, I probably only had quit maybe, I'm gonna say 45 days. Somewhere in there. Maybe 90, but not long. Actually, in one of the final conversations I had with my wife, she'd mentioned that I had gone the good part of 18 years without going longer than maybe a couple weeks without gambling at the most. So Danny and I started talking, and talking about quitting. We had talked about quitting for many years, actually. Me feeling more like is not really an addiction. Danny feeling like it's more of a mental condition. Danny's a smart guy, has letters after his name. Went to college, all that good stuff. Definitely a smart guy. Again, like I said, I think gambling's more of a greed thing. I was watching a show the other day where a younger kid, 23, called into a show, said he felt like if he quit gambling, he wouldn't have anything. No thrills in life. I feel a little the same way. I mean, I remember when I quit like 120 days for the first time. I went back because, if nothing else, I had nothing better to do. And I kind of felt like, hey, I could quit anytime, right? Just go play again. And so anyway, Danny and I talked over the years, and I remember something Danny did or something. I was like, oh my God, is this me? As a gambler, I mean, you really sometimes aren't able to see yourself. A lot of this, I mean, I think about this in my being married and stuff, what it must have been like. And you really don't think about that much, or at least I didn't. What her experience might have been like being married to me. I was thoroughly convinced I was doing the right thing, right? It's the long term, it's playing poker for the most part. Once poker kind of hit the no limit situation, the 1-2, I felt like poker took a turn for the worst, and started just quit poker, but I went. It felt like I still wanted to gamble, right? A couple $100, play blackjack, whatever. Why not? So, quitting poker, I definitely felt, again, like I could quit gambling. So, along the way, after many conversations, started quitting for longer periods of time. It was clear I was trying to get further and further away from it. It's interesting because, when I got divorced, I mean, it was a friend that shared something interesting with me. He mentioned that everything ends. And that if you can appreciate the time that you had, then sometimes moving on is easier. And I feel like I applied that to gambling a little bit. And I felt like I used that well because I enjoyed the time I was married. However, I also enjoy the time now. And was able to move on from it. I kind of applied that a little to the gambling situation. And I definitely think it's helped. Danny is an interesting character. If you've been following the channel for a while, watched many of my videos, Danny is probably responsible for the growth of my channel. Many people followed, just because of the videos I did with High Stakes Danny. I actually still have videos that are unpublished with High Stakes Danny. I published these videos recently with Big Cat because they were on my phone. And I had been trying my best to get all these older videos off my phone. And I knew the videos were going to do well, so I went ahead and published them. It was kind of mixed feelings about, but, at the end of the day, my channel really doesn't have a direction, so I was like, whatever. But, my point behind this is the relationship I had with Danny and talking to him really helped me quit. He, first off, he was very similar, to me. I've seen a lot of myself in him. And I mean, he had done a lot for me. I mean, without a doubt. Even this last time I was in Las Vegas, I stayed at his house. He is here in the Philippines. He just recently he quit for like 270 days and went back and started gambling again, and then left back over here to the Philippines. And now here it is, January. I emailed him, and he is 25 days from going a year without gambling. And that is a pretty big accomplishment. He feels like he could never quit. And he was going to return back to Vegas. I'm not sure if I talked him out of it, but I felt like he should stay. He was going to return before the holidays. He met a girl here. I started going to the Philippines. I was hanging out in Tijuana. Benny, another friend of mine that disappeared off planet Earth, when he went to Cartagena, called me up one day and goes, "Man, you gotta go to the Philippines." So I decided to come over to the Philippines and check it out. And Danny met a girl several years before deciding to come to the Philippines, waiting until retirement. I told him he should probably go, take a month off, because he definitely could take a month off. He had all kinds of leave when he left his job, retired from his job rather, just about 2 years ago now. And see if he liked it, meet this girl, but end up waiting. And in March of 2022, after the restrictions had been lifted and it opened back up, Danny asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, yes. And we ended up going, and he had been in the Philippines for the most part 2 years, probably minus 2 or 3 months tops. So with this girl over there in Dumaguete. And it's interesting because once he went back to gambling a little bit, he, or maybe more than a little bit, he Danny had a stack like this big of receipts to these payday loan places for years of paying back payday loans. For all the money he lost, he probably has a small fortune in payday loan fees. Shocking amount, actually. Actually, I told him at one point, you should try to get yourself excluded from the payday loan places. But yeah, he emailed back, saying he had 24 days. It's interesting. Danny and I, we share one other thing with our family members, and this is what really I feel like, where the relationship with Danny really helped, because it's funny, like his family members seem like they're just kind of waiting for Danny to fail. And I want Danny to succeed. I want him to never go back. And I think he legitimately never wants me to go back. But I think both of us both have family members that are kind of just waiting for us to fail. And it's interesting. I think both of us kind of have the same histories with our families, similar histories anyway. One of the authorities in gambling treatment in the United States, I managed to get her on the phone and maybe admit a little bit that they really don't know a lot about gambling behavior and this so-called addiction, and why people gamble, why they continue gambling. But it's interesting because most of what I've heard, including the kid even said on this show, he was like, and, you know, they were talking back and forth with another person that had quit gambling. If one, it seems to be clear that everybody quits. Either something happens and they quit, lose all their money and quit, but everybody has like a cycle that they go through and end up quitting. And I mean, I was ready to quit, but it was a lot like the relationship, you know. Sometimes you feel like you look back and how you're like, oh my God, it's too far away. You try to scramble back because you're afraid of losing it. At least this is how I feel, because it was similar to like the divorce. I felt like my wife and I were pretty tight. We don't talk anymore, but we talked for several years, back and forth. And it was almost strange sometimes because, you know, I would feel like, you know, want to reach out and make sure it's still there. I mean, it was, this is why I feel like where I was in quitting gambling. Because when you quit, you know, when you quit things, like I feel like I want to quit drinking coffee, which sounds crazy. But I feel like if you just will have nothing left. Shocking, actually. Anyway, see you tomorrow.